I'll tell you a little bit about my own background as a way of setting up my own some of my own brief convictions about this. I was raised in a home where my dad was a scientist and a religious skeptic, a really wonderful, kind-hearted man who saved certain neck veins for the discussion of religion. And he did so because he really believed that one of the most dangerous things in the world was religion, and that the primary negative force of religion's effects in the world was that it took great things and made them small. And he would illustrate this philosophically, historically, culturally, politically, aesthetically, all kinds of different ways, but especially scientifically. So he was very afraid of the way that dogma presses in on the natural world, and the way that dogma presses in and against the discoveries of science, and presses in on the process really of just simply human creativity and discovery. So his sense was, if you want to live a free life in a world in which the possibilities on the horizon of existence are kept as wide as possible, and where your imagination and your own creativity and your own capacities for discovery are allowed to flourish, then do everything possible to avoid religion. So it was a great surprise to me when I started reading the New Testament to discover that, in fact, Jesus and my dad had so much in common. And that, in fact, a lot of what I think Jesus also is very concerned about is the way that religious authorities, especially religious spokespersons, not least preachers, suggest a frame of reality that is just simply too small for God, too small for God's purposes in the world, too small for creation. And it was one of the things that opened the door to faith to me was, in fact, this kind of interesting, unexpected resonance between Jesus' anxiety about some of those things and my father's. The other main thing that drew me to faith was really also related to that same process of reading the New Testament and the discovery that faith and doubt not only necessarily or commonly did coexist, but necessarily coexisted, and that there was hardly anybody in older New Testament who was represented in any way as a kind of true believer. Everyone was represented as a person of both belief and doubt, which gave me, as an inquiring person who was reflective, self-critical, looking at the world with investigative eyes and curiosity, gave me this feeling of, oh, well, I can't do true believism. I can't be like an on-off switch where it's either all belief or no belief, but I could do partial belief. I could do that. I think I could come to the point of making what I think is an earnest, genuine statement or action of faith that took me into a realm that was brand new to me, provided that I wasn't stepping into a cul-de-sac which had an unexpected truncation of human experience, intelligence, imagination, and love, as the Presbyterian Church says, but that instead could actually be quite the opposite, that it was an invitation into the expansiveness of a God whose heart and mind and purposes for the world were something that invited investigation and curiosity and imagination and great hope and great ambiguity and great confidence with humility, right? So it was this combination of factors. And I think maybe the shortest way to finish what I'm going to say is that my sort of own epistemological framework could be, in part at least, distilled from the end of 1 Corinthians 13, where Paul, the most adamant preacher, you might say, in the New Testament, is the one who says, we see, but we see through a glass darkly. So this great sense of confidence, of assurance, and this acknowledgement of non-transparency. So we see, but we see through a glass darkly. So it's not opaque, we see, but it's not transparent, it's translucent. It's capacity to see, but to see through a glass darkly. And somehow, in my own epistemology and in the epistemology that I think as a preacher, pastor, I was constantly trying to encourage in the congregations that I've been a part of, has been to hold on to all of those things, right? We are a people invited into seeing, acknowledging that in humility that we see through a glass darkly, standing in the assurance of what we do see, and open to a God who has yet more to help us come to understand and discover. I have found that then creates a place to stand, you might say, as a preacher. So when I come to the task of preaching, it feels like those are some of the themes that I would hold together and that I then would work out in various ways when it came to, certain texts, certain issues, certain questions. That would be sort of the epistemological frame where I would stand. And then it feels to me like it gives me the rootedness and the flexibility to respond without defensiveness or without any arrogance to suggest that I see what I don't, or that I can't see anything. So those are just some opening reflections.